Hello guys, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Witness Without Identity channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about a very good an interesting topic, because this is the topic we've been talking about for a little bit for now. What happened today is the big news. Basically, kind of like the force the vote thing, that to make the progressive people, to force them to put the vote on Medicare for all. Uh, it seems like that did not work. Nancy Pelosi got reelected, and she never had to make a concession, made a promise. So that failed. Um, so here we're gonna talk. I want you guys to listen to what Jake Hugo came up and say that, hey, why did it fail? So I want to talk about it very carefully. I want the left and everybody to be able to cure the conversation. Let's have a more peaceful conversation, so we can understand how we can move beautifully forward without having to create an internal war. We don't need to create internal war. We can have people that are yelling or screaming, and allow them to see what they can do, and see what we can do, and whoever makes it work and make it work. That's it. So look at the video from Jake Hugo, and you let me know what you think. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's talk about forced the vote and what happened. First, I'm going to tell you the facts of what happened today. Then we'll get into what was wrong with the forced the vote strategy and what's the right way to do it. And we're going to get constructive so that we can actually do it right next time, instead of doing a couple of things that were critically wrong this time. First of all, just so you know, the vote was, and this video, as all videos, are sponsored by you guys. So hit the join button below. Membership makes Young Turks possible. It makes all the YouTube shows possible. So support whichever show you like, okay? And that's how the world works. Okay, 216 to 208 was the vote. So it was very close, only about 8 votes. Some folks have it at that. Some have it at 216, 209. So that's a 7 or 8 vote difference. Okay. Couple of conservative Democrats voted for someone else. Voting for someone else is the smarter strategy. I did not. I wish there were progressive and that people could have voted that way, but the conservative Democrats voted in that way. But 3 voted present, which is very dangerous because of what I'm about to explain to you guys. First, Brendan Stottsnay, thank you for the super chat. AJ Duenas back as always. All right, thank you, brothers. All right, so how does the vote for the speakership work? Because there's a lot of confusion over it, and there's a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of yelling. Okay. By the way, if we want to get into a yelling contest, I'll win that one too. But that's not how things should work. There's good reasons to yell. Anybody who's ever watched the Young Turks, if you think I don't yell enough, you haven't watched a minute of the Young Turks. But you've got to direct your righteous anger in the right direction. Otherwise, it's counterproductive. Anyway, first, the facts on the vote. You need a majority of the people who vote, except the folks that vote present. So it doesn't matter how many people are in the House. It matters how many people voted for someone. So is there a scenario under which Kevin McCarthy can win? Yes. Is it the scenario where some folks advocated that Justice Democrats and other progressives go? Yes, that was the one nightmare scenario. So I'll explain that, then I'll explain how it could have been avoided, right? So there was a way to do it where you wouldn't have run into that problem. And a lot of other folks that are part of Force the Vote wanted to do it that way. So let's be fair about all of it, okay? If you vote present, oops, you bungled it. If the 10 Justice Democrats had voted present, right now, Kevin McCarthy would be Speaker of the House. That was indisputably the wrong strategy. So now, number one, when you vote present, those don't get counted in the batch that you have to win a majority of, okay? So if Kevin McCarthy became Speaker of the House, it's not the end of the world. They could actually do a motion to vacate the chair at a later time once the Democrats have their stuff put together and they know how they're going to vote as a block. So they could undo it at a later date. But you would have to get all the Democrats together. But then all of a sudden, the conservative Democrats have a lot of leverage, and maybe they don't mind Kevin McCarthy being Speaker. You've risked a potential disaster. But wait, even before you get a chance to redo the vote, it wouldn't happen that day. You'd have to go through a whole nother process. You know what the next thing on the schedule is? January 6th, when the Republicans are going to try to do some version of a coup where they have hundreds lined up in the House to vote saying that, no, I don't care. Donald Trump won the election. I don't care. I don't care what the law is. I don't care who won. I hate America. I hate democracy. Oh, look at that. Because of force the vote, Kevin McCarthy's speaker. What a lucky break Republicans caught. Now, look, most of the people that are part of force the vote are very good people with great intentions. There's tons and tons of Republicans in there. You look at the handles and you click on them, MAGA guys, and they love it. They're like, yeah, give it to Kevin McCarthy. Oh, that'll help the coup so much. Give it to Kevin McCarthy. Oh, no, it's no big deal. You can redo it. Oh, yeah, go. So those guys exist, no question, right? I don't know about bots. I'm not a tech guy. I don't know, right? But there's a lot of real progressives in that batch. There are. I'm positive of it. And I'm positive they have good intentions. So it's a mess. So all that got thrown into one cauldron, okay? But for those progressives, you don't want Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House on January 6th. Just absolute disaster scenario. Now, yes, it's true. It could be avoided if you voted for someone else, because then you have to win a majority of the people who voted for someone. So those votes then take away from the percentage that McCarthy has to win in a sense, and then McCarthy would not be able to win. They'd be deadlocked. They'd have to go back in. They'd have to negotiate. They'd have to come back out. Okay. So now I think that's good enough explanation for what happened today. And by the way, guys, if you got confused somewhere along the lines there and somebody told you if they vote president, they'll just magically win. I hope you didn't believe that. And I suspect most of you did not believe that. If somebody told you they vote president, then they have to go caucus right away, and then Pelosi will concede to the progressive demands, and then they'll vote right away, and then we'll win. Voting president would have been a disaster. Thank God that didn't happen. Even if they voted for Bernie Sanders or someone else and force it into a tie, guys, that doesn't mean that Pelosi's going to say, okay, here, you get Medicare for all. Vote, let alone itself. She could have just made a deal with the conservative Democrats, and more conservative Democrat could have won. Those were your only options. The only person who got a vote that was in the House was, other than Pelosi, was Hakeem Jeffries, who's more right wing than Pelosi. And yes, the Republicans would have been thrilled. The corporate Democrats would have been happier. I get that you want to force action. Your intentions are not bad. In fact, I know there's thousands of lies, maybe even way more than that on the internet, just about what I've said, let alone the overall issue. So I want to force a vote. And say, oh, no, you don't want to do it today. You want to do it tomorrow. You're a sellout, Grenado cash, Clinton cash, whatever, etc. No, guys, I want to do it when it can work. And I know that doesn't mean 2 years from now. In fact, I'm going to explain to you what smart progressives have been doing behind the scenes and in front of the scenes for the last several years. And when I get to the right way to do this. But this was not productive to go in without a strategy. Okay, so let me just get to the wrong strategy, okay? Number one problem. Why was it wrong? You don't have an end game plan. You're just hoping against hope that you create a mess, and in that mess, Pelosi gives us the vote. But she would not be inclined to do that. She'd be inclined to do a deal with the conservative Democrats. And again, there's a better thing to ask for. I'll get to that in a minute, okay? Most importantly, point two, you didn't line up anyone to run against Pelosi from the left. How are you going to get to an end game if you don't have anyone from the left running against Pelosi? Okay, terrible planning. Then perhaps even bigger. Every one of these is a giant problem. When you do a strategy, guys, you must have an end game. You must go point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, we win. Okay? You can't go point 1, I don't know. I hope things work out by point 4. It's not a strategy. Oh, I don't have anybody running against Pelosi. It's not a strategy. It's just not. I wish it was, but it's not. Okay? Then, of course, we get to point number 3, alienating all your allies. How are you know what you need to get Medicare for all? Because for some people, maybe it's about clicks, and maybe it's about they just can't control their anger. They can't think straight. Maybe they like, that, oh, I'm the pure one. Whatever it is, I don't care. I want to win on not just show votes, although show votes can be important. Anger can be important, okay? But at the end of the day, we must actually win on the vote for Medicare for all. In order to win on the vote for Medicare for all, you don't need conservative Democrats necessarily as allies. You don't need a single Republican. But you cannot burn every progressive ally you have and then go, oh, well, I don't know. I thought I'd just yell at them and then that would work. Well, it could, but it depends. You're yelling at them to go in which direction and why. And then what do you want them to do next? Okay. But if you just say, no, David Sirota is working for Nancy Pelosi, you sound, look, I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it about the hosts. Okay. But you sound crazy. No one that knows one thing about politics thinks that David Sirota is helping Nancy Pelosi. That automatically puts you in the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs category. It just does. And you can say, no, I'm angry at you, Jen, because I believe Jimmy or whoever, that's some rando half comedian, whatever, his buddy, his elves, whatever, who were like, oh, they were so angry though, Jake. They were so angry. It seemed right. So, maybe we could. Maybe Sirota is working with Pelosi. No, nobody in their right mind thinks that. The guy's a 20-year career of fighting Pelosi, maybe harder than anyone else. The minute you say that, you lose every single sane person in politics. Sirota is one of the most hardcore progressives. You need guys like that on your side. So according to that theory, the one guy who constantly says, I'm a jack-off comedian, I don't know anything about politics, that guy is right. But Sirota and David Day, I'm sorry to throw out names, but these guys, and I don't mean to get him in trouble with whoever, right? The elves or whatever. David Day and David Packman, Ben Dixon, Anna, Jacobin. I don't know, all of these stalwarts of the left. No, their 20, 30-year careers fighting against Pelosi, against the establishment, with receipts, article after article, with enemies you wouldn't believe in Washington because they dared to be brave to fight against those people. And now you believe a guy saying that they're taking Clinton cash and working for Pelosi and working for NATO? You believe that guy over all of the other progressives? Come on, guys. Come on. Okay, that's and his big strategies. I don't know, maybe. Okay, Jesus Christ, man. All right, now there's two more things here. One I already explained. You risk the GOP getting the speakership at a critical time. But the last one is, guys, one of the important parts of the strategy is what? You force a vote, right? Everybody agrees to this. And by the way, you know what? Not only do I agree with the idea overall of forcing the vote, Jimmy keeps talking about, oh, you did your poll, and 86% of your own audience says we should one day force a vote on Medicare for all. You know who one of those guys is? Me. I voted yes, because I think we should force a vote on Medicare for all. Stop listening to liars. The question is when you do it. And we're not talking about 3 years from now or 17 years from now. We're not establishment people who mollify you with the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Have you ever listened to a minute of the Young Turks? So, or any of these good people. All right. So, but one of the steps in the correct strategy is what do you do after you force the vote? You make a list. Okay. And then of the people who voted the wrong way. And then you primary them. Now, who do you primary them with? Justice Democrats. Justice Democrats primary the guys who voted the wrong way. Except this clown show told you to hate Justice Democrats. Oh my God. You couldn't help the Republicans more. You couldn't help the corporate Democrats more. Pelosi's like, oh, you're undermining the Justice Democrats.
Okay, so you see basically what's going on here. It's like there's a couple of issues. Jake trying to make a case to explain himself. I personally believe that, for me, when you look at the left, we need to be able to speak to each other also in a civilized way, but we need to accept each other's strategy. I think that's just the only solution in a case like this, because the way I look at this whole situation, Jake is talking like he knows better than Jimmy. What you're gonna do? You need to have somebody to replace Nancy Pelosi. You need to have like a Justice Democrats to replace. And she's right. You have to have an end game. We cannot say no. You have no end game. But this is the way I look at Jimmy's strategy. For me, I don't know what you guys think about it. Jimmy's strategy, it's like the left or like the progressive, the AOC, they do feel comfortable with us, you know. and we're becoming like a bedroom, like let me feel comfortable. And I think also that the progressives should not even trust us because we can turn on them. It's kind of like the Tea Party, so that keeps them awake. So this is the best way I can see that we can use this fire from Jimmy. So if you are somebody that's not for force the vote, right? Let's say you don't believe in it, you don't like that strategy. I think it's okay for you not to criticize it and let Jimmy do what Jimmy got to do and himself, and don't step into that zone. Let's not touch it. Let's see what happens. And if it wins, it wins. We all win. If Jimmy wins, he wins. If we all win. If it fails, it fails. Then we use the second strategy, which is Cenk Uygur strategy, the more cooler head strategy. But I still think, guys, the force the vote movement did cause some positive in the Medicare for All debate. It did push the Medicare for All debate in the right direction. The reason why I can say that is that if you don't scare politicians, if you don't show to the politician that there's some sort of faction, there's a faction in the progressive left that are willing to primary you. Many people on the progressive left say that AOC will have to be primary because she did not, and I think they're going to come out, 2024 after her. Let me see, is it 2024? 2023, I don't know. They're going to come out for the next election, and they're going to see if they can primary. So what does that do? That keeps you your foot under the fire. And when your foot is under the fire, you stay strong. So this is why I look at it, right? This is the way I look at it. And I'm hoping that you guys can understand carefully what I'm saying. So I'm saying that, let's say that it's not your style. You don't want to get involved with Jimmy Dore, right? Let him do what he got to do. Let's say that you're on the other side. I'm trying to cure the problem. The name of this channel is a spiritual channel. It's about curing the problem. We have to cure debate and discussion so that we don't fight all the time like that. Because then we don't want the progressive to be smaller. We want it to be bigger. You see what I'm saying? Because the way Jimmy Dore also does it, right? Let's go to Jimmy Dore. If you're attacking everybody like that, right? You're gonna decrease the coalition. You want more people. You want the progressive that are, maybe you can call, Jimmy Dore can call them fake. Those are like how you call them? Warm progressive. You can call them warm progressive. We need to accept them too. And you need the heart of progressive. The reason why you need both the warm and the heart is that the warm also can vote for something that you like. The heart are always going to do exactly what you like. I'm talking to the radical progressive, the hardcore Medicare for single payer, the hardcore guys that have they want it yesterday, Bernie, you know what I'm saying? Those guys. Those are the Carl Kolensky and then the Jimmy Dore, Cristobal, those kind of progressive. They don't play game, they want it now. We shouldn't play. Connor West. Connor West is like that too. I think Nina Turner. I think she wants Medicare for force the vote and don't vote for Nancy Pelosi. Those people, what they are, the way I look at those people, they have to accept the other side without calling out the other side. I think that's one thing that we need to get out of. We need to get out of that. Stop calling the other side this guy. You doing your thing, you going hard after AOC, just go hard after AOC. Or whatever, just go hard. You want to go hard. And just keep going up, but don't spread the fire too much. That's my advice to Jimmy Dore. But you can go hard, you can say things, and we're gonna step aside. If they are moderate progressive, step aside and let Jimmy Dore do what Jimmy Dore does. If it works, then it's good, because we all want Medicare for all. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you have to look at it. We're not gonna stop Jimmy Dore. We're not gonna stop the vote. We're not gonna say it's bad. That's why I don't agree with Cenk. Let's see what happened. Let's look at another scenario. By the way, the news went the other way. AOC and the progressive did not stop Nancy Pelosi. They voted for Nancy Pelosi to be elected. So she's elected again. She won again. Nancy Pelosi won again. They were going to try to see if she cannot be elected, but she's got elected. So Nancy Pelosi is pretty clever with the way she does politics in a way. She got herself elected. So the way I look at it is like both the hardcore radical and the one that is soft. The way I look at that they should work is that there has to be some sort of like an agreement. There has to be an agreement. That's what I mean. there has to be an agreement that, oh, hey, okay, so which party are you red hat progressive? Okay, you red hat. Me, I'm like pink hat progressive. Okay, let's say it's two progressive, red hat and pink. And then the red hat are the Jimmy Dore, right? And then the red hat say, you know what? I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna see if I can get it now, force the vote now, and you can step aside. And then I have an agreement with you. I'm not gonna call you out. I'm not gonna call your name, because that doesn't work. We don't want too much infighting. I don't think we want infighting like that. We don't want too much infighting like that. It's not healthy. What's healthy is that you calling out the politician. Jake Hugo cannot do nothing for you. He's not a politician. You are you calling out the public official, the public servant. That's good. Calling out somebody in the media, I don't believe in that. So you can target AOC. You can say what's going on. I mean, it's a pandemic. 400,000 people died. You can force it. Let's see what happens. Me, I'm kind of fun of to check out what Force the Vote could have done if they would have pushed it, but it's what's inside of them. If they don't feel like doing it, they don't think it's there. If they don't want to do it, and I'm not gonna look at that as a way to say that they're total hypocrites. I feel like maybe they're looking for something else, another idea. But I hate to tell them that. I will be very honest to AOC and to the squad. I don't think there's gonna be another opportunity, guys. I actually believe that Jimmy Dore came. I'm going to be honest with Jimmy Dore too. Jimmy Dore, you came with this idea about Force the Vote, Medicare for all. Okay, no problem. But you should have somebody to replace Nancy Pelosi. You got nobody. So the idea just popped up in your head lately. You know, you should have somebody ready. You got to have people ready. You got to be organized. I think that's what I see in this problem. It's like I'm doing like a pragmatic diagnosis of the problem. It's like, I think what Jake said there, I think, yes, you do need somebody. I mean, you don't want to like primary and then what's his name? The other guy, the Republican guy, becomes Speaker of the House. You got to be careful with that. Many people not gonna agree with you. And but I also feel I do understand that it's good to push fear into people. It's kind of like the message of what Jimmy Dore is doing is kind of like people saying defund the police. You know, it's kind of like that. It's like everybody knows that nobody wants the police to be abolished, but defund sounds like very hardcore. So what it does, it raises awareness, and it opened up the Overton window so that we can talk about it in a bigger way, which is kind of good. It's okay. So that's where we are. It's a very interesting debate. I wanna go back and forth in this debate. I'm trying to understand the whole intricacy, because I want to hear what Jimmy Dore would say about that. Because all the point that Cenk Uygur said, Jimmy Dore said that it's a lie. It's not true that the Republican will be elected. What's the other Republican Speaker of the House? That's what he said. I want to analyze why did he say that? I don't know. So please subscribe to my channel, guys. It's the new year, guys. I'm hoping that we can start the new year in a more. We don't have to agree. You see, the fact that you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean you have to hate them. Doesn't mean you have to attack them. It doesn't really mean that. You cannot agree with somebody and separate yourself from them, and you are in a different division. In any political movement, there are different factions. So there's the Jimmy Dore faction and Karl Kolensky, and there's the Cenk Uygur faction, and that's fine. TYT faction, and they are different, and I think that's fine for me. So thank you guys. Subscribe to my channel. Have a good day.